Michael, much of your career has been focused on addressing the divide in rural America. Can you share with the audience some of the unique access challenges that rural communities face and how this ties to the work Land O'Lakes is doing through the American Connection Project?
Sure, thank you. And it's good to be with all of you. And I'll just take a personal moment to say how honored I am to be here. I grew up in Cleveland and I have my law degree from Case Western Reserve. So this is very special to be a part of this. So I appreciate it. So that's right. Land O'Lakes is where I work. I'm on the government relations team in Washington. And you might be wondering, what is Land O'Lakes, the butter company, doing on this issue? And why do we care about this? And well, this is our 100th anniversary this year, in fact. We are a farmer-owned cooperative, which means that the farmers, the dairy farmers that have the dairy farms all around the country, are owners in our cooperative, and they live in rural America. We also have members that own ag retail stores that sell feed and fertilizer and crop inputs for farmers. And so all of these places all across rural America have a struggle, much like what we've talked about exists in Cleveland and in other urban centers where there is a lack of access to broadband. Now, the reason for that in many rural places is because if you think of an internet service provider, in a lot of cases, there is not a business case for them to go out and deploy a lot of the capital expenditure it takes to put down the infrastructure in these places because the population is so dispersed. There's a real lack of density. And so if you only have perhaps a few customers per square mile, fiber, to use one example of a technology, is very expensive. And if you're only recouping a monthly payment from a few customers per square mile, there's just no way to do it. And so, to some of the points made by the earlier panelists, there has to be a partnership with the government. And the government has a variety of programs through different agencies, FCC, USDA, that provide support to the providers who can deploy these networks in rural communities. But a lot of it has to do with a very disparate population. We know also, as has been mentioned, this problem exists in urban places too. And perhaps it's not because there's not the infrastructure there, but maybe it's an affordability issue or an adoption issue or a digital literacy issue. And so these are things we have to address. But in rural America, it has a lot to do with the fact that there are very few people in very large spaces.